This is the KingCamp Canvas Bell Yurt tent, the Con Palace size in gray. And my first honest take is simple. It feels like a portable room. Not a flimsy nylon bubble, but a real space where I can stand up, move around, and actually live for a few days. I had a few doubts before using it. I worried about weight, setup time, canvas in the rain, and the usual zipper drama you get with big shelters. After several trips, some wind, and a couple of soaking rains, I have a clearer picture of where it shines and where it makes me work. The shape is classic Bell meets Yurt with straight sidewalls and a tall roof, stretched into a rectangular footprint. That extra high sidewall, about 2.5 feet, changes everything inside. I can push cots, trunks, and tables right against the wall without my head brushing fabric. The two tall A-frame doors, front and back, make entry feel like walking into a cabin, not ducking into a tent. The canvas is a 65-35 polycotton at 210 grams, which means it breathes better than plain polyester, but still has strength and weather resistance. To me, it feels like tough duck cloth, dry, substantial, with that real fabric hand feel. Light through the canvas is warm and soft, not the harsh glow I get from thin synthetics. The floor is a PE sheet, which is lighter than a rubberized PVC. It's fine on grass or a ground tarp. I still like a footprint under it to keep mud off and add a bit of protection. There are mesh windows, a room divider, and a stove jack that's ready for a hot tent setup. The hardware is 60-61 aluminum with a push-in design. It's not fiddly and it feels solid in the hand. Stakes and guy lines are plentiful. The vibe overall is base camp, not fast and light. From my experience, setup the first time took me around 40 minutes solo, because I was learning the pole layout and walking a big perimeter to stake everything. With practice, I'm close to the 25-minute mark KingCamp quotes, especially with 2 people. The bag is heavy, right around 92 pounds all in, so I used a wagon to move it from the car. Space-wise, plan for a broad rectangle plus guyline room. This is not for tiny pads or crowded campgrounds. Assembling the aluminum frame is straightforward. Push-in buttons lock sections together, and pole sleeves keep everything aligned. Once the body is up and staked, tensioning the guy lines is the whole ballgame. For anyone new to canvas, guy lines are the ropes that pull the walls and roof tight. Tight, even tension matters for wind performance and for clean zipper tracks. I also like setting the footprint first to keep the PE floor clean. The included instructions are clear enough, and they match what I actually had to do on site. Living in it is where this tent wins. The interior is big enough that I can run a queen mattress, a cot, a lounge chair, and a table without feeling cramped. With the divider up, I have a sleeping room and a gear room. The vestibule works as a mudroom for boots and wet jackets. On a hot day, I roll up the sidewalls, zip the mesh closed, and the whole tent turns into a breezy shade pavilion. That 3-in-1 design, fully enclosed, mesh airflow, or roll-up walls, solves the heat and condensation issue that makes most canvas shelters miserable in summer. On a cold night, the stove jack comes into play. A stove jack is a fire-resistant port in the roof or wall where a stovepipe exits. I ran a small wood stove with a heat mat underneath, a spark arrestor on top, and a CO detector inside. The tent warmed fast and stayed comfortable, and the fabric didn't sweat like cheap polyester. Breathable polycotton really does help. Weather has been fine so far. In rain, the canvas darkened and looked like it was wetting out, but inside, stayed dry. The cotton wrap thread in the seam swells when wet and seals tiny needle holes. It's a clever old-school trick that still works. I did go out once to snug the guy lines after the fabric relaxed in a long soak. In wind around 25 to 30 miles per hour, the tent held. But orientation mattered. I pointed a solid wall into the gusts and used every stake and guy line. The A-frame doors flex more than the rest of the structure, so I added a bit of extra tension on their guys and kept the zippers clean and waxed. Speaking of zippers, tension is their enemy. If the fabric is pulled too tight, zippers get grumpy. A little silicone zipper lube goes a long way. The big maintenance lesson is drying. Any canvas needs to be fully dry before storage. If I had to pack it damp, I set it up at home the next day to dry completely. Mold is the only real deal breaker with canvas, and prevention is the cure. I toss a couple of desiccant packs in the storage tote and avoid storing in a damp garage. I did move away from the stock carry bag after a few trips. It's a bit tight once you add a footprint and extra stakes, so I split the load into 2 heavy-duty totes, easier on my back and easier to load in the car. Key features that stood out to me are the livable height from those tall sidewalls, the 2 full-height doors, the 3-in-1 wall system that lets me switch from winter bunker to summer pavilion, the stove jack for true 4-season use, and the 6061 aluminum pole system that feels dependable. The rainfly fabric is burly, and the overall stitching looks clean. In my opinion, the lifetime warranty is a reassuring touch for a product that I plan to keep for years. It tells me the brand expects this to live a long life. It's perfect for weekends where I'm not moving camp every day, week-long family trips where we bring real furniture, shoulder season hunting trips with a stove, or a semi-permanent base at a lakeside site. I'm not packing this into a tiny sedan with 4 people and expecting extra room. And I'm not throwing it up for a one-night stop at 10 p.m. This is a get there, set up right, and enjoy the space kind of shelter. There are a few quirks worth knowing. The door zippers can feel tight if I overtension the front guy lines, so I tune the pitch until the slider runs smooth. The stock guy lines work, but I swaps to reflective cord to avoid nighttime trips. The PE floor is lighter than a heavy PVC, so I like using the footprint and sometimes a rug inside for warmth and to protect the floor from chair legs. The packed size is big. That's the trade for thick fabric and a serious frame. I'd recommend this for families who want comfort without renting a cabin, anyone building a glamping setup, winter campers who appreciate a hot tent, and groups who need a reliable weather-ready base for a few days. From my experience, treat it like a piece of furniture, not a disposable tent. Dry it, store it well, and it will pay you back in comfort. In conclusion, this doesn't try to be light or tiny. It aims to be a portable home, and it succeeds. The space is real, the airflow is real, the weather performance is solid when pitched correctly, and the build feels up to the job. It asks more from me on setup and storage, but the payoff is a warm, dry, quiet place to hang out when the day is long and the weather isn't perfect. For the way I camp, that trade is worth it. I will share detailed information about the KingCamp Canvas Bell Yurt tents in the comments section. Everyone, thank you for watching.